You see the little shit going. That's a video. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Of course, you know, the boxing circles have been buzzing around the recent loss of Deontay Wilder to the hands of Tyson Fury. We know this, and we know last year, Andy Ruiz upset Anthony Joshua in Madison Square Garden June 1st of last year. Now, the question is, now this has been a big debate around the boxing circle, so I got to ask you guys and got to put together who was beat more severely. And this actually spawned from a conversation held by Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella did say that Deontay Wilder took far a worse beating than Anthony Joshua did in the 7th rounds of both of these guys' destruction. Well, let's look at that for a minute. Let's look at the similarities. Both undefeated guys. Both were dropped multiple times. Anthony Joshua went down 4 times. Okay? Twice in the 3rd and twice in the 7th. Whereas Deontay Wilder was dropped in the 3rd and he was dropped in the 5th. Okay? I think the blood made it more dramatic for Wilder because Wilder was bleeding. Okay? And Wilder was bleeding in a lot of areas. He was bleeding out the ear, so he had difficulty with his equilibrium, I feel. And I think that gave the effect worse, but I think it was worse because when you don't have your legs in front of you, the punches hit you harder, you know? So he was literally knocking him off his feet when he hit him to the body, whereas Joshua dropped Andy Ruiz in the 3rd. And this is really because of the assault or the offense and the overzealousness from the offense of Joshua. I think that's what gave Andy Ruiz an opportunity to hook, because you don't hook with a hooker, and definitely Andy Ruiz was a hooker, and Anthony Joshua found that out. Now, there were behind-the-head punches in those fights, or in that fight with Andy Ruiz and Joshua. If you go back and you look at each knockdown was landed with a punch over the head. Even though I think that Anthony Joshua was going to go down anyway, but the over-the-head punch, I think, put the exclamation point on it. Okay, so both guys, though, they were stopped in 7 rounds. You know, and it was a situation where, in Joshua's case, the referee stopped the fight. In Deontay Wilder's case, the corner stopped the fight. Okay. Now, it's always been that the corner, you know, have been more lenient than the referee. But then, of course, the referee has a better seat. Of course, they're all right there. You know, they're just looking up from above versus the referee looking eye level at the fighter and what's going on. And to think about which fighter took the worst beating, who got hit more? I think Joshua got hit more. Due to the fact that Joshua got hit more, I think he took more punches. And I think the one punch that hurt him more than all the others, even though Ruiz did catch him with some good shots. However, if we're looking at it in the forms of success, Anthony Joshua had far more success than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder really didn't have success. The only success came, really, if you want to call it that, was the 2 connecting right punches, one in the 1st and then one in the 2nd. Okay, those were 2 right hands that landed, but normally those closed the show. For most fighters, it didn't do that for Fury. And then Fury came back and battered him from round after round. You know, Joshua at least held Andy Ruiz off, a wounded Joshua, mind you, a guy that was already either concussed because they were talking about how he was in the fight, or wounded, badly hurt, right? He didn't have his legs up under him. He looked gassed, so they both looked gassed in the third. So that's another similarity, okay? They both looked gassed. Joshua's 250, Deontay Wilder's 230 something, and both of these guys, once they got hit and hurt, they were out of gas. So though that's a similar, and it's crazy, it's similar, and they both went down in the third round. Both got stopped in the seventh. Both went down in the third round, okay? And both was gassed, right? None of them didn't have any stamina whatsoever. But the way Wilder was beaten, he was beat from one side of the ring to the other side of the ring. He was falling over, whereas Joshua had to actually be beaten down. He went down from a variety of punches. Deontay Wilder went down from punches. He got hit to the body and went down on one. And the other one, he got hit and he really just got knocked off his feet. A lot of people call it a slip. No. Tyson Fury hit him and made him go over. Okay, everybody saw he slipped. No. What made him slip? What made his foot go forward? His foot had to come out from under him because the punch made the top of his body fly forward because he got hit. Okay? Even though he thought it was a slip, of course he is. He wasn't looking at what he got hit by. A lot of people would think that. Now Deontay Wilder probably looks at this and says, you know what, I did get knocked down. You know what I mean? He'll never admit it to the public, but that's what it is, I feel. The problem is Wilder took more of a beating. It was weird because Joshua in spots was attacked and hurt because he was already hurt in the third. He just never recovered. And plus, he didn't have any stamina. But he did have his moments in that fight after he got hurt. Even though he was hurt, Joshua was still able to land left hooks, traded left hooks, landed right hands. Okay? And that was after that. Deontay Wilder got hurt in the third. He had no answer after the third. Like I said, he landed that right hand in the first round, right? Then the second round, right? Then the third round, he went down. After that, he had nothing left. He was getting beat all around the ring and bullied and roughed up, and he had no answer. He threw a left hook, I think, out of desperation in the seventh before the towel was thrown in. And you have to remember what type of beating you have to be taken to let your corner throw in the towel. See, the referee's job is to protect you. Okay, they don't care if you win or lose. But your corner's supposed to know you better than that referee, right? Because they know they know what line is crossed. Some of them supposed to know. Some of them don't. Some of them maybe don't care. But I'm not going to go there. All I'm saying is these guys are supposed to know what you can take and what you can't take. What's your limitations, in other words. Okay? And they had to throw the towel in on Deontay Wilder because he didn't have enough experience, I feel, to go down. Whereas Joshua, he was just hit like someone throwing bees at him, right? And he collapsed due to exhaustion, due to the point that he still was hurt. And again, he was hit over the head. And a lot of people don't believe me until the second fight happened. And when Andy Ruiz was frustrated, what did he do? He looped right behind the head because that's what worked for him in the first fight. Okay, so some of his stuff were files. We can talk about the open hand of Fury or whatever all day long. But at the end result, that did nothing to benefit the punching or inflict damage on Wilder. Wilder got hit and hurt with right hands. He got hit with a left hook to the body. And it's hard to try to hit someone with a left hook to the body when your fist is supposed to be in your wrist area where it's taped up, which is retarded. But he went down, okay? He went down to the head and the body, and he was punished. He was bullied. He was knocked from pillar to post. He was bleeding profusely, and his corner had enough. Look, it was getting so bad for Wilder because Wilder's team was conflicted. Okay, they weren't even in agreement. They had conflict in Wilder's corner. See, Mark Brulin, he threw in that towel, not Jay Diaz. Okay, Jay Diaz told him, no, hold off. And it just lets you know that Mark Brulin works probably more with Jay Diaz than Jay Diaz. Because remember, Jay Diaz is also a manager also. So I think a lot of his role in Deontay Wilder is really for moral support while he's in the gym. He'll be in the gym or whatever, but a lot of the times he's getting other stuff together, right? Whereas Mark Brulin is that guy, that quote-unquote offensive trainer or coordinator, like Jay Diaz says, you know. So, but Joshua had a better chance in that fight because he did hurt Andy Ruiz. And that's another factor. Deontay Wilder didn't do that at all. He never hurt Fury. Despite the first fight, sure, that's a different fight. But he never hurt Fury. There is no evidence that he hurt Fury at all. Joshua was the one that inflicted the first knockdown. In fact, the only person to knock down Andy Ruiz to this day. Okay? Even though, I mean, the last person he fought was Anthony Joshua. But Anthony Joshua was able to get in with a perfect left hook and show what type of power he had. So there were highlights for Joshua if you were looking for some. If you were going to put a highlight reel, people, from Joshua and Ruiz 1 and Fury Wilder 2, what could you give, what reel could you make for Wilder? The two right hands, that's it. You know what I mean? Whereas Joshua Ruiz, I think he lost a little bit more on his shield, so to speak. Yeah, both of them were stopped by someone else. So both guys ended the fight on their feet. So make no mistake about it too. So that's the fourth similarity. Okay. So these guys were both undefeated, were both champions, even though Anthony Joshua, you know, got his championship straps back, you know, and yet it remains for Deontay Wilder because he's waiting for his rubber match, you know, and seeing how that goes, if that ever happens at this point. But, you know, he's waiting to redeem himself, you know, after Joshua already redeemed himself, you know. But who took a far beating? It had to be Wilder, okay? Because Wilder was in no position to defend himself, you know, and a lot of times, you know, your best defense is your offense. After the second round, Deontay Wilder didn't have an offense. You know what I'm saying? Well, at least Joshua had some. Joshua went out punching at the end, punching to the body, you know, to the head, but then he was countered. And again, he was hit with a behind-the-head punch when he did get countered, okay? Right over the jab. I remember that clear as day, all right? But both guys, make no mistake about it, both guys lost. Both guys were stopped in the 7th round. Both guys were out of gas by the 3rd round, you know, and hopefully both guys can redeem themselves. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this debate, this question. Who did take more punishment? Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder? Leave your comments below. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.